Well, peoples, I have a meme review for you today. Great one. Absolutely great. It's been taking Twitter by storm these last couple days, and it's been hilarious to see the result. Now, Dungeons and Dragons to me is. I don't think I could ever sit down and write in a rules down for myself and roll a dice, and maybe there's models involved. I've played lots of Warhammer. I have tons of Warhammer models, but for me, writing in a book about your story and writing, looking in rule books, it's just not my thing. But kudos to the people who do enjoy it. Now, I would imagine if you do like Dungeons and Dragons, you do not like what's been occurring with Dungeons and Dragons Wizards of the Coast. They put out a tweet the other day that has received cataclysmic backlash, hilarious Grok AI videos, and truly just this overwhelming sentiment of true disdain of how you can take something and just utterly ruin it with unchecked wokeness. Now, here's the picture itself. See if you can see what's wrong with this. It just, I don't know. It's just, and this is the same feeling that other people have with it. Is it just exudes some level of pretentious, flamboyant, um, diversity, equity, and inclusion, party of empathy, leftist, weird rainbow cultists type of iconic image that is just, who the fuck is this for? You know what I mean? Like, who the fuck did they make this for besides just pure brain rot wokeness? So yeah, ideally they did get a huge amount of backlash over this, and potentially the greatest thing to come of it were all these Grok AI videos of just absolute terror and destruction. Look at this one for the Emperor. Now, I want to say something right off the bat is that Grok Imagine is incredible. I love AI. I'm an AI lover, and fuck all the AI haters because AI is insane. And this kind of spurred my interest in Grok, and I looked into it. It's not perfect, okay? It makes mistakes a lot, and it can sometimes look a little jank, but what it can do is incredible, and it can do things like this. Look at this. Obvious Space Marines just ravage the place. And this is the sentiment that people have been feeling towards it. Look at this, mine. Lots of skulls, the skull throne. There's another one. Same kind of thing. Ian Miles Chillong put in. Yay! Kang Lee. It just something about this. Look at this is another one. Turns into demons. Um, and yeah, it just the memes. The memes were just otherworldly. What the fuck were they thinking when they made this? No wonder people were gonna backlash up against it, and it just exudes. I don't know. It's something of deep rejection of people. Like, this is not for any of the people who are fans of Dungeons and Dragons. There's that one. Like, this is what the art used to look like. Yeah, no kidding. Evil monster. Yeah, that a lot of people pointed this out. Now, I'm the Beholder, very iconic creature from this mythos, but like just the way they made it with the heart thing and the colors, it's just puke brought onto a screen. It's the equivalent of, you're walking down the street and then someone just puts a rainbow flag in your face, and all this weirdness. This entire city must be purged, Arthas. Yeah, the amount of, yeah, look at, there's another Space Marine one, and I find, what, um it's so relevant to the Warhammer mythos. I've said this many times. I've said this on Twitter. I've said this on YouTube. People don't like to hear it, but Warhammer and Warhammer Games Workshop is under the guise of BlackRock investment. You see a lot of these new Warhammer kits come out, and they're diversity, and there's talk of heads that look kind of like females for Space Marine kits, and there's a lot of that. Trust me, but Warhammer's a franchise. Warhammer's a mythos. Warhammer 40k and fantasy that is very opposed to this wokeness. It just doesn't. It just is like the anti-woke, and they probably fucking hate it, and that's why a lot of these rainbow flag people come for these types of franchises. Is that unlike Dungeons and Dragons, it's kind of like you got people and there's celebrations, and Warhammer doesn't necessarily fit the bill as much. It's really hard to get good Warhammer videos, pictures, games, everything. It's got to be perfect to the setting. Otherwise, it just doesn't feel right. Everything's got to look right. Everything's got to feel like it's this dark, brooding warfare that is just constant and unchanging. And to insert any kind of political message in that, it's got to be hard. And I know Space Marine 2 is a goated game. People love it, but they fucking put in a little bit of that in there. Trust me. And they just can't help themselves because they want these things that the chuds like, and they want them to be diverse. I don't know, like more inclusive to other people. But this is the same thing as no girls in the tree fort type thing. Is that you just cannot make something a certain way and have people readily accept it. There's look at that. There's more, almost as many. They got ratioed so hardcore on this, and these people making all these Grok Imagine things. These animators and artists has got to hate this. Yeah, this is not perfect, but look at that. They're making, like, you're basically making a little tiny cinematic movie out of these people's artwork just using AI. Like, how are they able to, how is that, these people's AI artwork has just been absolutely trounced by AI. And you got to think that these animators are watching this just going, fucking AI, fucking AI. Yeah, it's like they have to hate this. And luckily we have the technology to spoil it like this for them. Here, look at that. There's more. Jesus Christ. But yeah, I mean, like, doesn't D&D have violence? So this is another thing that is the juxtaposition to these types of entertainment mediums, is that and this is like the same thing with Warhammer and Warhammer 40k, is that this kind of like fairy happy, everyone's gay and happy, and we can hug and be friends. It's such a far cry from a world much like our own. Is that in peaceful places, yeah, you can have that. You can have people dance around celebrating be gay. That can happen theoretically. But in a world where there's demons and monsters and creatures that will eat you, do you really think there's going to be big celebrations everywhere where people are wearing weird colored flags? No, like, it doesn't. It exudes some sort of weakness to humanity and people and anything, monsters, creatures, orcs, anything. Oh god, I gotta probably edit it out, all those F words. I really don't want that F word to get this video flagged, so I'm gonna have to go through and make all these edits, but I think it's worth it for the meme review. I'm gonna need two chain swords for this and that's really what they hate for Warhammer, is that they hate the fact that Space Marines are very masculine. Space Marines, Chaos, Warhammer 40k, even to a degree, lots of Warhammer Fantasy, it's very masculine. It's very anti, this type of thing, and you're getting people who are fighting back about this by bringing in kind of more what the world would be this destruction, this chaos, if there were just weak people running around talking about their pronouns. I'm gonna have to edit out all those F words. I really don't want to get some kind of YouTube by having the F word on that. That's a good meme. The memes are great in this thing. They really are excellent memes. The Melanie Mac one. I would hate to see if this says. Look at this. So yeah, a lot. This is the next segment we're gonna go into these memes that people have been posting all these pictures and artwork and identifiers of just how the world has essentially like that's how it's supposed to look. It's a dark, brooding fantasy world. I think there's lots of this, and that's a lot of what it has is that there's an artist or there was a group of them in D&D. Maybe they did this for ESG score. Maybe they did this for that, and they've hired all these people who have deeply, deeply heavy woke thoughts, and they've kind of just taken over the mythos and made it their own thing. It really is embarrassing, and I can't believe people have done it. Yeah, and that's another thing too, is that it's just so weird. It's so weird that people would want to make this about themselves. I don't understand it. I really don't understand it. But, like me, other people are really adverse to it and can't take it. That's a gold god tier meme. And that is so that's what everybody feels. There's there's no recover from this. Oh, look, here's another one. The Gundams or something. But you see the way AI, like, really, it does it pretty damn good. Look, it's got, I don't know what the hell those things are supposed to be. It's got that thing in the background. It looks good enough to view. It may not be perfect, but fixed it. Yeah, there's so many people doing that. Yeah. There's such a juxtaposition. I immediately sparked the weirdest thing. It just it's just a weird thing. An elder, I you cannot tell what this. I think yeah, like he says, the black and Asian elder pairing. You can't tell if that's a male or a female or an old person or young. It's so weird, and maybe it's an older person. It just doesn't. It doesn't look like any kind of discernible human being, and it's this weird, you know, demi, whatever it is, androgynous, whatever it is that they just love to put in there. There's no gender. It's so weird. Give me something for the cringe. Yeah, and a lot of people are pointing out to the classical kind of art of it. That looks fucking cool. That looks awesome. How in a world where there's this, can it look like that too? It's just so cartoonish and stupid. Yo, weird. That person pointed out that guy kind of he looks very, yeah. I think Caleb Prime is 100% right here. It kind of looks like he's yoinking himself and looking at other people. Very weird picture. As. Yeah, and here's another one. So this is just the juxtaposition of what they try and do with this stuff is that they just try and they change it. They want to change it for their own ideals. The puke meme. Here's another one of these. Oh, look at that. Yeah. The dragon too. That one is really grim. Look at that. It's incredible what AI does, but it's certainly pointing towards a future where we don't need these fucking artists anymore. We don't need these people to tell us what is and shouldn't look like. We can make our own stuff because we can get AI to do it in a second. How long would it take an artist to sit down and animate all this? If one person could do it, how long would it take us? Obviously there's some things. Look at the two there turn into that. It actually looks quite impressive. Look how the two there just turned into his skeletons. But how long would it take a group of people or an individual to sit down and animate what you just saw in a minute of processing time or less? It's insane. Yeah, put a chicken and make it gay. I'm just here for the ratio. We'll check it. We'll see what the ratio is like on this afterwards. Yeah, and see they're pointing to this classical artwork, which I'm sure plenty of people who are offended by this were super enveloped in like the the quintessential look of D&D, this like kind of dark, fantastical world that people grew up with. I'd be very offended too. I'm more of a Warhammer head, but dear God, if it goes from that to that. Yeah, let's read what D. Pimblor Thrabo says here, because this resonates heavily with me too. Okay, real talk. This is horrible and generally more offensive than anything else here. You're going to talk about interdimensional horror that makes LA heckin' wholesome LaCarte blob. Absolute morons who have no respect for it. It's so true. It's like they just had to. They just couldn't help themselves. And you're gonna see that in potentially trying Warhammer is they're just gonna make whatever they can look hate like people would just hate it to be. It's like this has no respect for the source material. Zero respect for the source material. This is like if you took someone's puppy and you out of their yard, you dyed it purple and pink, put little bow ties on it, and it's a male dog, and you called it, you give it a stupid looking haircut and you put it back in their yard. This is the exact same thing that the people do that. This is so ass. This is shit. Gundam. Yeah, that's a good picture actually. But yeah, I mean that looks in a world like that. How is there that other stuff? That looks a little weird actually. Barbarians and stuff. That is AI. That's gotta be AI too. Looks very interesting. You don't know what the hell is AI and what the hell is not now. What the fuck is that? No kidding. What in the fuck is that, honestly? The little gay dragons. Like, what are these people on, man? Here's another one of these. Bzzz. I made one. We'll get to that in a second. Bzzz. Let's see, look at there. Bzzz. Kind of morphed them a little bit there. Interesting. Yeah, that's from like a show or something. So it's hard to say. Like, does the do they care? They're not certainly not going to just change their ways over this. But there's another Space Marine one. There's another Space Marine one. Yeah, I mean, maybe they're like, ooh, the more we piss people off, the more publicity we'll get, and the more views we get, and the more people will buy our books. So keep just making it. Like I'm sure there's a line for no sometimes bullying is okay. All publicity is good publicity kind of thing. Leftists ruin everything. Yep. And like I said before, like they don't necessarily haven't killed D&D. They've just taken it and made it a little dumber on purpose to spite people. Does it just shit out electricity there? Okay, watch. Shoots. It did. Kind of looked like it just farted electricity on him. Yeah, and then like clearly this is the type of stuff these people dislike. Dungeons and Dragons, yeah. And what I have to say to every fandom is that like don't stop loving, like these people have no power over you. Like you have a plethora of goodness to look for. I don't particularly agree with a lot of the directions Games Workshop has taken, but there's so much material for me to consume free of it that this is just their own little corner. Look at that. That's a cool fucking picture. That is an awesome picture. Wow, that is so cool. It's that kind of thing. Is that like, yeah, urge to crusade intensifies. So there's plenty of great memes here. Let's go down just yeah, it's so weird. So weird. Is that Christian Bale? It doesn't look like him at all. Another one of these, very good. It's generally how people are feeling about it. And the Grok Imagine videos are incredible. Let's see what the ratio is on this. I think we're just about done with all this. Yeah, we've gone through a lot of these memes, so let's just go all the way back up top. So look at this ratio here. So 230 for the Emperor, 3.5k. Is it ratio? Let's see. Yeah, so Chiang ratioed them with that. 18k, 11 million views? You're going to tell me that 11 million people saw this and only 11,000, what is that, like 1,000th of the people or something? That is an absolutely fucking insane amount of likes comparatively to views. That is just an insane. There's almost as many comments as that. Miles Elon Shine ratioed them. Kangnam almost ratioed them. Just utterly insane. Complete butt fuckery of that, I would say. So yeah, Wizards of the Coast at the same time is like, look at this weirdness. They're trying to say old school rules. That's not all. This is just the most egregious thing they've done yet. They're doing that. That in itself looks very gay. What the hell is this? Donate through the link below. Change kids' life for the future. Who knows what that's for? It all is just goofery. Utterly hated. Baldur's Gate 3 is, whatever. It is a game that exists. Whether you like it or not. But see, the thing is that Baldur's Gate 3 and everything I've seen, it's not a game where there's just rainbow dancing around. Like, yeah, sure, you can choose different sexualities, but it's an authentic feel to the experience. Oh, look, a liberal woman in charge. Look what happens when you get a fucking liberal woman in charge. Look, another liberal woman with crazy ass fucking eyes. No kidding. Look at those crazy ass eyes. That fucking woman is probably. And that's who envelops these types of things. Even if you get a game that's relatively good, even when you get a movie that's relatively good, you get a liberal woman in there with crazy ass eyes, and she seems to find a way to just ruin everything. Or make it less cool than it would normally be. Running heroes of the Borderlands. Try these DM tips. Even this has echoes of gayness to it. There's it's just like we have a sixth sense for this. Look at it. 1, 2, 3 black people. She kind of has a mixed race look. The Black King, the black that guy. It's just like you can just ooze the wokeness out. Yeah, all very weird stuff. I must say. But Dungeons and Dragons certainly haven't done. Look at the fucking look at the liberal craziness there. Dungeons and Dragons certainly have not done themselves any favors on their. Oh, look at these people. Who the fuck? Like these are people who are just there for the fucking paycheck. They don't give a fuck about Dungeons and Dragons. Look at this interaction too. With what, a million, almost a million followers, 12K views, 144 likes, 5 comments. Nobody gives a shit about this. Nobody gives an absolute shit about that. Promote diversity. Two fucking diverse. Look at that. 2 fucking diversity hires in the fucking Dungeons and Dragons tournament. Nobody gives a shit. Wizards of the Coast just do not do themselves any favors. Any favors? They have a publicly traded stock. Who knows? It's all very weird, isn't it? It all exudes some kind of furry stuff. It's just like that's what I look at. So let's look at that. Where's that meme I got? We'll just finish up here. Of course, this is one of the real bangers. Is a Warhammer 40k one where they just wreck it. Chuds win. Chuds win as always. More Chud victories. This is not going how Hasbro wanted. Yeah, and oh, look at that. There's like an old school version of this. Wow. Wow, that's a throwback to the past. Kind of funny how there's seeming lack of this would be what the hell is that? Everybody's commenting on it. It's just goofery. Look at it, they made the beholder one weird looking in. So I mean, it all is just buffoonery. It's buffoonery. It really is buffoonery, isn't it? It's goofy buffoonery. They want to make this weird, and AI now we got the tools to make this kind of stuff. The Giga Chad version of Lord of the Rings. I gotta find that Giga Chad thing. I've seen that pop up the time. I need to know how to access that technology. It's nothing personal, kid. These are the kinds of people. We've ever seen that. Okay, let's check out mine here because I made one. Alright, go back to. It's funny, and they've done this to themselves. This is the classic Star Wars line with Obi-Wan. You have done this to yourself. And they have. They've severely fucked up their own lifeblood here. I would imagine a grand majority of people no longer. Yeah, here we go. Oh yeah, that's one I posted. Here we go. Oh, is this one? No, that's one. There we go. This is the one I made. The demons just running through there. And that's one I just typed in and said. It's that easy with Grok Imagine. Grok Imagine is incredible. The AI haters are going to be coping and seething when this gets better and better every day. This is definitely not perfect. You might have to run it a few times to get it good. Look at the two. Look at the two weird old people just book it right off the bat. Look. Just run, and that one kind of morphs a bit. But overall, it looks very, very interesting and good. It get crushed. That's a hilarious one. Anyways, Dungeons and Dragons, fucking hilarious. The Grok videos. This proves what we can do now. Is now we can just punch it into some AI generator, and it just, beep, there we go. Like we've messed with your art. They can't be happy about it, but it's equally fucking funny. The Space Marine one. That one is hilarious. The grotesque nature of it is just beautiful. Look at that one. Dear God, that's graphic. Look at the one there. It's so fucking awesome. I love AI, man. I love it.